I don't know each other already, my name is Allison Samuels, and I am here on behalf of the Level Up Project, which is an initiative that I officially began over the last few months, but is something that in many forms has been on my mind for years. Um, I am honestly still in a bit of shock that this is actually happening right now, that all of you are here participating alongside hundreds of people around the country and world. Um, this started, we launched it officially not even a month ago. It is truly humbling. Um, I am beyond thrilled to welcome you all to our very first ever workshop week. Like, this is the fourth day that we've been doing this at all and supporting our vision of accessible education, knowledge sharing, and network building. All of us at the project have an innate sense that the industries we work within need to change and that we are individually responsible for helping that shift along. It is through both small and daily habit changes alongside collective action that we think systems can be created to support more people. And right now, you all are part of that creating. An idea that I have been returning to a lot in the last few months, articulated, I think, well by activist and abolitionist Mariame Kaba, is that we don't have to build things that last forever. We shouldn't need a project like this to exist in the first place, because free and accessible education and knowledge sharing should be baseline. I started this project as just one of many resources and stepping blocks on the way to greater equity in the physical skills-based fields of predominantly craft and design. And it already feels like this project is growing and shifting to better serve everyone who would like to participate. And building this thing with you all has been a dream. As a reminder, this model works because that is allowing anyone to participate for free, including materials, if any of the workshops required materials, because we are collecting all the dollars into one pot and then redistributing them back out. We believe that everyone contributing in accordance with their wealth and privilege is one way to achieve a more equitable social system. And it has been really exciting to watch this happen in real time as you all are making it happen. We can build a framework, but if you are not here to participate, then it doesn't work. So thank you. As a reminder, all of our proceeds from ticket sales and donations through our website are going to Arts Business Collaborative and Map for Youth, which is a mutual aid project. And if you feel strongly about the project, we do invite you to donate through the website. And also, of course, please keep sharing the word. I'm going to be the admin for this workshop. Please feel free to drop me any questions in the chat box or DM me separately if you don't want them going to the whole group. My video on, and we'll be collecting questions and either chiming in real time if it seems pertinent to the discussion, or we'll save your questions for a little bit later if Rashida doesn't address them right now. Again, Rashida would love your participation, particularly for this workshop. So if your videos aren't already on, please turn them on. That would be so lovely. You can see your beautiful faces. And if you can keep your sound off for the time being, unless you have like a question, obviously feel free to pop in. Unless Rashida is specifically asking for your verbal feedback as well. In advance, we are obviously experiencing some technical glitches right now. So like, thank you for bearing with us already. Sorry we started late. We were trying to like work some shit out. Obviously, if anything's not working more than what we know already, please feel free to ping either of us. We will do our best to troubleshoot. Along that line, again, the link to Rashida's Canva presentation is in the chat box. Please click that and follow along with Rashida's slide presentation, because the screen sharing shit is not working with the computer right now. So like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Rashida is coming in again. Okay. And that might work. On Also, the workshop is being recorded, and you'll get a link to it at the end, about a week after this session ends, so you can see it forevermore. And on that note, I would love to officially introduce you to Rashida, who is a photographer based in New York City who specializes in portraiture. She captures natural moments that bring to life the most authentic energy of each subject. Her goal is to make great connections with people and brands, treating each of her clients with specialized attention to bring their vision to life. I can personally attest to this practice of Rashida's in a very real way, as we have worked together on multiple projects, and most recently, just a couple of months ago, I have been truly blown away by not only Rashida's attention to technical detail during the shoot and post-production, combined with her overall aesthetic vision and genuine care and warmth for her subjects and clients like myself, not a subject, just a client. I am so thrilled that Rashida is here with us tonight and that you all get to learn with her. It is like totally freaking wild to me that somebody like Rashida exists, who is so freaking talented and gracious and humble. On that note, I would love to turn over the virtual floor to Rashida.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I'm very excited to be sharing with you all, especially because for me, like, I have taught myself over time, and I'm like continuously teaching myself how to do these things. So it's really exciting to be here with you all who also are interested in learning. And like Allison, thank you for even trusting me to do this. Life is crazy. We all have like imposter syndrome sometimes, but it's really great when we can all kind of like affirm each other in the things that we're doing and the things that we're passionate about. So yeah, I will kick things off. So we're on the first slide. It says, "Hi, my name is Rashida," and this is a workshop on the nuances of posing and composition in portrait photography. So if you guys have any questions along the way, please let me know. Please ask in the chat box. I think Allison will be keeping an eye on that. And yeah, and if you just want to like unmute yourselves, if you're like so interested in getting an answer at that point, do it. I won't be mad. All right, so as Allison said, I'm a photographer.
Can everybody see the presentation? Can everybody do like a little thumbs up on their screen to make sure that we're all on the same page? Woo! Eva, hi!
Oh my gosh. I just want to take a second, and not everyone has their camera on, but I want to see who I can see. Okay. I see a couple of people. Y'all are also cute and pretty and handsome. All the complimenting words. All right. Okay. So I'm on the second slide right now. So who I am, I'm a photographer based in New York City, and I specialize in portrait photography, as Allison said. So I love capturing natural moments with my subjects. I think that is honestly the best way to deal with posing and composition in photography, is like really paying attention to natural moments that happen. So my goal is always connection, storytelling, and just a vision. And also just to make sure that my subject looks great. We all want to be flattering to ourselves and in a photograph with any other person. So my goal is always to make people look flattering. All right. So also I had asked a couple people randomly on social media to share some words about me, and a couple words I got was pure, and they said like, "Bra, you're so dope. You bring calm and smile to a room. I appreciate you and your energy. Graceful, kind, beautiful, graceful, sweet, elegant, and charming." The reason I added this in is because I think it's really important to bring yourself in any room and any job that you are doing. For me, the reason why this is important is because you have to also give yourself to the person that you might be capturing, or if you are being captured, you also have to be present and available. so people can get to know you. Also me, I love music, I enjoy singing, I love making abstract art. I have 10 siblings and I'm an aunt to 10 kids. I'm about to be an aunt to an 11th in like a month, so that's very exciting. I'm originally from Antigua and I grew up in Portland, Maine. Islands. All right, we can go to the next slide. So I would like to meet everyone and to kind of know why you're here, what you do. I just want to get to know you guys and to be able to give you what you want to take out of this workshop. So please don't all jump at it. Anyone can go first. Should I pick on people?
Sure, I can go first.
Hi.
Hey, how are you? Thank you so much
I'm well.
for participating. It's super exciting to be here. I love the project. My name is Gio. I worked in various industries. I was a journalist at one point. I was an analyst. I recently left the financial field to seek something more creative, potentially starting my own thing. So I'm in that transition process right now, and I love photography. I love art. I love design. So I'm really excited to learn more about what you do.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Anyone else?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Naomi. I know Allison from the woodworking world. I'm a woodworker and an educator. Woodworking education, arts education. Lots of work with children and art making. And my husband was available, so he's joining us tonight. I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Yakov, and I was just when Naomi suggested me joining the photography class. I said, yeah, sure, I'll take it. Also, it's my birthday, so I think it's a great birthday gift. And she was always like pushing me to take better pictures because I'm not good at it.
He's good at landscape, but when he takes pictures of me, I'm like, that looks bad.
I'm good at detail shots, but that's it. I zoom in, but when to get the whole picture, I suck.
You don't suck.
Got it. Listen, I love close-up shit. Those are like actually my favorite. I'm very like, I get really deep into someone's faces. So I get it. I get it. Nice to meet you.
Nothing personal.
All right, who's next?
I'll go. So I'm Eva. I'm an amateur photographer. I spent my stimulus check on a new camera, and I love to stop people on the street and ask to take their pictures. Allison can attest. But I guess I'm hoping to gain some confidence in directing subjects.
Awesome, love that. All right, anyone else? I guess we all don't have to go, but like it would be nice. I second that. Gain confidence, not just capturing what occurs naturally. This is from Hannah. So she wants to gain confidence in directing people, not just capturing what occurs naturally. Amazing. Awesome. I can give you some pointers on that. Anyone else? All right. Okay. I'm gonna dive back into the slides now, just so we can keep this going. All right, so when I think of portrait photography, I think of like telling a story of a person in front of me and in front of my camera. So I decided that we're on the third slide, by the way. So I decided to look up the definition of portrait photography, and it said portrait photography is a photograph of a person or group of people that captures the personality of the subject by using effective lighting, backdrops, and poses. So photography is just really intimate. The goal is to really capture a person in a moment in time, or if you're shooting a product, you want to, oh wow, Allison's, okay, screen sharing, got it. Sorry about that. So yeah, the goal is to capture a person in real time, and if you're capturing a product, you want to capture the essence of that product, and that might mean that you are adding different props in the background, or you just have one simple background. It's whatever story that you're interested in telling. All right, third slide, or fourth. So we have, and is this, I'm so sorry. Am I sharing my screen, or is Allison sharing her screen?
I just shared my screen.
Okay, cool.
Is this working?
Yes, I think it's working.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. If you wanted to make the
should I spotlight
slide full screen, that would be great, if possible. If not, then that is okay. So this portion of
bottom right corner.
Our set. Sorry?
To open full screen, the bottom right corner, there's like the two arrows.
Yeah. Like that?
There we go. All right, so we have an activity. I just wanted us to basically take some time to look at ourselves in the mirror. So for me, when I capture people, I sometimes will put a mirror in front of them, or I would just like them to understand who they are as people. For me, when I'm in front of the camera, I have learned to almost love my face and to know what my face does, what my, shoulders do, what I just do in general. And so I just wanted us to be able to do that with each other. So do you guys have a mirror with you? Yes. No. You can also use your screen and just look at yourself. If you want to use your phone camera, you can also do that. Feel free to take a video if you want, or photos while you do that. And yeah, so I think Allison's going to be playing some background music. So for the duration of the music, we will be checking ourselves out in the mirror. Please feel free to really look at yourself and do different poses, try things out. Just be with yourself. All right.
Rashida, can you hear this?
No. The whole song. Right. Is it over?
Yeah. Cut.
Hi, how was that for you guys?
Sorry. Okay.
Yes. How was that? How did you guys feel?
It's definitely, it's about your mood, right? It's about confidence, it's about how you're feeling. And then
Yes.
I think like the images really reflect that. Like even when you talk about like capturing your essence sometimes is not really just the physical aspect, but it's the internal aspect, which is, so it was so interesting because, you know, it's like already late in the day. I had a long day, so for me, I was feeling a little bit tired. So I was looking at myself and like I was seeing that you can transform it. Obviously, you can like change that. So yeah, it was.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. You basically summarized this whole exercise. Anyway, I see Eva said, is it Eva or Eva? I don't know. I'm gonna go with Eva.
You're on mute.
The first, Eva, great. Yes, awkward. Awkward is also a very good word to use. I mean, one, following Gio's comment, like when I'm shooting people and they're in front of my camera, one, they feel really awkward. Like you have to get people comfortable, unfortunately. I even get uncomfortable in front of the camera. I mean, it's like an eye looking at you in your face. No matter how far it is, like a lot of times, like I can feel when a camera's on me. So yeah, it's a very awkward thing to do, looking at yourself in the mirror. But I think it's very important for us to be comfortable with who we are in order to get a good photo, or in order to, I mean, just be comfortable in front of people to show your full self, whether or not that's tired or excited or any of those things. So yeah, so I am just gonna go continue on this. Did anyone else want to add to how that experience was for them?
The way that our lighting is set up, it really changed how I looked at myself and how I felt about myself, where like certain things were in focus or not in focus or in shadow.
Nice. That's kind of cool. Can you share with me like one, how do I put it? I'm so curious, like what were the shadows giving you, like feeling wise, and what were certain different views giving you? How you're feeling?
Yeah, it's like how much you want to show, how much you want to reveal. And so, you know, if you're at a certain angle, it cuts at the chin nicely and it creates a pretty line.
Yeah.
Or, you know, it hides the side of my face that I'm not as confident with.
Wow, love that. Love that. I'm a huge fan of shadows, if you guys have been on my page. So I love that comment. I mean, shadows definitely add or take away from the emotion you're trying to evoke in a photo. Your eyes can be popping and the rest of your face can be like completely covered, but your eyes, like whatever intensity, like Gio said, like whatever your emotion is from the inside, you can bring that out with just an eye or just your mouth or maybe even your nose or, you know, your hands. So I think that is a part of portrait photography. All right, so I'm gonna move on unless anyone else had some words to share.
Oh, before we move on, I want to share something too.
Yes, please.
So I noticed that there's a conflict between what you want to show and who you really am.
Yes.
And it's really hard to look at yourself, to look inside, and fight with the image that you want to see.
Yes.
So it's like
Yes.
it's like faking it in a way, and I think it's important not to fake it.
Yes.
And to be genuine about this.
What a great group. We should all be in person. This is wonderful. Oh my gosh. I like feel like I'm diverting from like it's right in here. Like I love that. I mean, like
But I never thought about it until you brought it up.
Yes. So like for me, psychology and like photography kind of go hand in hand. I don't know if any of you are familiar with actors or acting or how that works, but it's like it's all hand in hand. Being a model, being an actor, whatever it is, the emotion that you're trying to evoke, you have to find a way to get there. And we're not going to go too deeply into that, but I just love that you shared that, because like if I'm sad, like I'm gonna look sad even though I'm trying to be happy. But if I actually think about something that makes me happy and I go like that is joy, versus like this that's like not joy and happiness. Anyway, thank you guys for sharing. You guys are amazing. Yeah, so let's move on to the next slide. Let's go here. Did I go too far? All right, so this is some of my work. I'm just gonna do like a quick sweep of some of my work and talk about it a little bit. So when I'm capturing moments, I love just capturing intimacy. That I think that is in all different ways. That's just my favorite thing. So it's something real. The definition of intimate is closely acquainted, familiar, and close. So here, the first photo is a subject alone. But as you can see, like his hand is touching his face, and for me, like that is an intimate thing for someone to do. You're not. For me, when I look at this photo, I think of like maybe I'm putting moisturizer on my face, or maybe I'm just like wiping the sweat out of my face. But that is an intimate thing to do, hand to face. The second photo was an engaged couple. They were getting married, so I did some like cool photos with a friend. So this is intimate. Like they're just together, them just being together in a photo, stacked on top of each other, is an intimate thing. This also goes into like composition of like posing someone. You're not seeing the entirety of their bodies, but you can see that they're clearly on top of each other. And yeah, so then the third photo is just me being very close. That's how I created that intimacy. I went into her eye. I went into like the hair and the nose and the face. It's an intimate thing to be in someone's face. We all know that. All right, so we can go to the next slide. So the next slide for me is movement. Movement is an act of changing physical location or position. So ways that you can create movement is in the body, in the hair, in the face, with the hands. The first photo, it's her hair. You can see that is a moving thing. And I had her leaning back and I had her just like do some motions with her hands. It is a still image, but we all know that hands move, and what she's doing with her hands is she's moving it. The second image is the girl is standing straight, tall. She's clearly not moving her body except for her face, and her hair is clearly blowing in the wind. So you can think that like she was in a windy place. The third photo is a gentleman sitting in the chair. You can see that the smoke is moving, the arm is up. Like there's just movement in the photo. He's not just like sitting there, not doing anything. All right, move to the next slide. The image on the left is also so dynamic. I'm gonna look at the comments right now so that we can, the color, the pose together, add to that feeling. Yes, thank you, thank you. So composition. Whew, it is very warm in here. All right, so this is actually Two Trees Studios, Allison's work. Our work combined together. So composition describes placement of relative objects and elements in a work of art. So a good composition for me is one that has just enough details. Too few elements robs the work of art of necessary detail that makes correct interpretation possible. So you don't want too little bit, because then you're not really able to like form a story from that image. Although it could be really powerful if one person is in like a huge field with nothing, and it's just that person in the huge field, like that tells a story, versus having one person in a huge field and then maybe like, I don't know, like I guess a horse walking in the background would be cool. But anyway, I digress. So too many elements could also be distracting. So for me, like a good composition requires balance. It's best to make sure that all of the elements present are necessary for the idea of the story you are trying to pass on. So it's a lot of trial and error. When I'm shooting, I just try. If you think of it, just do it. Like, like the worst thing that's gonna happen is that it just doesn't work for the shot, but at least you tried it and it might work for a different shot. I think when we were shooting for Allison's things, like she liked one thing more than the other, and I liked something. I was like, well, let's just try it. Like, what are you gonna lose? There's nothing to lose. So yeah, so the 3 different photos, you can see like it's pretty minimalist. We decided to go chic, minimalist, with the people obviously in it modeling her vases. I never know how to say the word. The vases. And yeah, so yes. I did want to talk about a little bit about like the composition of the pieces with the human beings. Do you guys want to make any commentary on that? What do you notice?
It makes me think about like in terms, because I know a little bit about photography and the idea of the grid and the dividing into thirds. So like where in that grid is the focal point, and like where does your eye want to, like where do you as the photographer want to bring people's eye to, and like what's the important part?
Are you asking me that?
Yeah, like I mean that's like compositional, but it's like I just and your eye is like, this looks good.
Yes, exactly. So I'm gonna start by saying everything you shoot is so different. Sometimes it's hard for me because I love people's faces. So being a portrait photographer, and then like I also love just shooting objects. I love shooting products. And I can do it well, but I find myself getting distracted by people's faces, right? And so like if I'm not reminding myself of like, oh no, it's the product that I'm focusing on, like I need to position the product in front of the person, or I need to put the product with the person. But if the product is next to their face, like it's still the person and the product. And Allison definitely wanted people to be like a big part of the shoot. So we kind of like reached the middle ground there. But yes, does that answer your question?
Oh, wait, it was off. Yes.
Here.
And also, like, it feels like for Allison's work and your work combined, it's like you're telling the story of the people who live with these objects. So
that was the goal.
You did great work. Good job.
Thank you. I dance when so a lot of photographers, I think, we come up with concepts for ourselves, but the goal is to obviously show the concept in the work and not necessarily explain it. So I get very happy when people do understand that. It's like these are pieces in someone's home, or can be. So thank you for that. Yes, so I think, does anyone else have any comments on these? In composition, we're going to talk a little bit more about composition too.
They're beautiful of how I love the color palette. I love how it blends. Like, it's not really competing but complementing, right? Like, it's not like my eye is not going to the person or the object, but it's almost like I don't know if they're the makers of these products, but that's what it evokes to me. It's almost like they're very proud of these creations that they've produced. So I think it's beautiful.
One thing that I made them, they didn't make them, but one thing that was really beautiful that Rashida started doing, or that we did during the shoot, was like have everybody choose their piece that they wanted to be photographed with, like whatever their like eye or body was drawn to. Like had a way of like inviting everyone to like really feel at home with like the things that they were touching. And then so anyway.
Yes. Anyone else? That shoot was so much fun. Anyone else? All right, I'll have more opportunities for people to talk. All right, next slide.
Did I skip?
Good. All right, so composition and perspective for me go hand in hand. For me and like all the photography that I do. Thinking about perspectives, can anyone tell me what they see within these photographs that are here? Just get some quick answers. If you want to type it in, feel free. Maybe that might be like a little bit easier. Yeah. Ooh, are you talking, Naomi? No, she's talking to her husband.
Ava says the second one really shows their personality.
Yes, the second one really shows their personality. Yes, absolutely. All right, so so for me, like right here is, we have 3 different focus points in the first 3 images. I chose to do that because it gives you different emotions. The face shape changes a lot. Yeah. Yeah, so it gives you different focus points for the person that's in the image and the object that's in the image. For me, when I'm shooting, I tend to I do like a 360, sometimes around the person. I do high, medium, and like low view, just to see like which one I like more. And sometimes they just work all really well. And then also, like, I love that, Naomi, you're commenting on the different emotional states of this person. So one great thing about working with models is that they know how to like change those emotions. And I love that like we're even picking those things up. So your perspective is the way you see something. So it's just the way that we are perceiving what is in front of us. So as I shoot and like go about my life, like I'm looking at everything in a different perspective. Like if I close my eye this way, like I see completely differently than if I close this eye. So I do that a lot, even when I'm shooting. Like I'll be like, okay, what do I see here? Like where can I come at with this, with my vision and the person also giving me their vision? Like where can I take this story? Go to the next slide. This is just some more on capturing moments for me. I think I mentioned this earlier, that I love capturing moments. And if you're a new photographer, like go out there, like shoot people. You don't have to ask them if it's a public place, but what I typically do is if I do capture someone, I will go up to them and say, hey, I took a photo of you. Is that okay? And I'm happy to send it to you. Aside from that, we compose ourselves every single day with like the way that you are sitting, Gio, right now. Like you have your hand right here. Like that is a composition. The way that Naomi, you and your husband are sitting, like that is a composition. The way that Allison is sitting, like we are all composed every single day. So when I'm shooting someone, I try to make sure that they understand that like you are perfect the way you are. You just might have to like exaggerate it a little bit. If you don't have that energy and give me that energy from yourself to me, then I can't capture that in a photo. So I basically just work that into the shoots that I do. This first photo is my friend. We're at San Diego Beach, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that hat looks really good with the shadow and this and that. And, you know, I just put her into the light and I took some photos. The second one is my nephew. He was just running on the beach, and I like thought it was the most beautiful thing. So I just captured him running. And then this third kind of GIF video photo is a friend of mine. We were at a party, and like I was just like, I just started shooting her. Like this was not a nothing planned. But is a model, so you can see that she's doing, you know, different motions with her hands. She's just working the camera, and she's really clearly has gotten comfortable enough with herself to change her emotions and to change the view and to, you know, do exactly what she's doing here. So yeah. Also paying attention to the space that you're in. When you're composing a photo that is not just capturing moments, you can kind of take moments that you've captured and bring it into like the studio, or you can bring it into a shoot that you may be planning to do. So if you see people playing dominoes, that's a scene. Like you can set that scene with less people and less background and less everything. Like that's how you compose a good photo. Right, I don't know if we can go to the next slide.
After this one?
Yes, no, this one's perfect. I think I'm in this photo, right? Yes. All right, so on this slide, this is a photo shot by my friend Mark Clennon. So I work with him a lot. I tend to I get hired to be on shoots as someone who is posing, which is obviously why we're also here. So this is a description of composing people together. So if you look at the second photo, I had posted it on Instagram, and a lot of times what me and my friends will do, if we shoot something, we'll like kind of mark up the photo. And as you can see, like you see these lines, these are the lines that we're looking at when we're taking a photo. The way that my arm is like hugged over the person in the front, and then we added some height with the person in the back with her arm up. And then just like the placement of our legs. I remember Mark telling us all to like align your legs on the line. And then you just get this cool photo where it like looks natural, but it's posed, but it's like kind of cool. Yeah. So we can go to the next slide. So I just want to talk about like finding inspiration. It's like sinking into a pose. Exactly. You sink into it. You try it and then you make it yours. I actually say that to people a lot. I'm like, just sink into it. Just be the pose. All right. So I'm just going to point out a couple things on these photos. So this first photo with people's hands up clapping. I love this photo. A friend of mine took it. That is inspiration to me. That is something that you can get inspiration from to then do a pose like where you're doing this, or you're like arms are up or doing this. Like that is easy inspiration that you can give to if you're shooting someone, you can just tell them like, oh, do it like put your arms up like you're clapping, or like, I don't know, do some like cool motion with your hand. The photo in the middle with the group of people, if you can see that, it's by Mark Clennon. I was there and I helped basically figure out the position of the room, and then figure out how many people were going to be there, and then figure out where we should put everyone. It took a lot of trial and error, because if you're working with different people at a time that you've never met these people before, you have to figure out in real time how to work everyone in. And that is, again, trial and error. Like, don't be timid. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Like this business is all about mistakes. So yeah, just posing with people together. You want height, you want just wide, tall, a lot of diversity, and everyone's poses, you can tell that it is them. You can kind of get a sense of who everyone is with their posing. And I don't really remember having to tell people to do much. They just kind of knew what to do. But yes, and then I'm just gonna go to this photo on the bottom with the girl with the umbrellas. The girl with the umbrellas, this photo to me shows that she is almost like a part of the umbrella scene. So she's standing stoic, the wind is blowing a little bit. The umbrellas are upside down, which for me is a visual of like her head, versus it being like the umbrellas are flipped because of her, because she is standing upright. So yeah, and then we have this photo on the bottom with the girl's arm like this, where you can see the person in between her arms. So this works with perspective and just like setting that frame and a composition. So they have composed this image with like, there's clearly a person there, and then there's space in between this person and the two people. There is space between the two people. So then this other photo is also by Mark. I assisted on the shoot. It was for Dapper Dan Gucci. I suggested just having this fabric leaning on her and having her lean with it. So that is simply showing that there is fabric leaning and she's holding on it and she's going with it, right? So she's being taken with that motion. And then this photo on the bottom with the two people moving is one of my favorite photos by Mark Clennon as well. I used his stuff because I work with him a lot as well. But it's one of my favorite photos because it shows movement. It's clearly two people dancing. We might not all be able to do that. I definitely don't know that I can do that, but we can totally take something from this photo and figure out like a way to maybe recreate it or just love it. And then this photo on top with the lady holding her necklace up. I also assisted on that shoot, and I noticed that the necklace was getting kind of shortened because our necks naturally do that. So I suggested, like, let's have her look up and she's pulling up the necklace, right? That neck piece. And instantly everyone was like, wow, like you can actually see it. And then you also just like get that motion. So yeah, that is basically that slide. We can go to the next one. It's just another representation of the person becoming the object. you see the flower, and then you see the person in the red, and the flower is also red. They're both standing stoic on a beach. There's just that comparison of like, that is a pose in itself. You can look at a tree pose in yoga. These are all things that you can think about when you're composing a photo or doing portrait photography or posing someone. All right, so these are some more of my photos. This is called Protected. The poses, I'm just gonna dissect it really quickly so that we can move into the next portion of this presentation. So this is also interactive. So I just want us to like dissect these poses together. Like where do you think you would see poses like this in real life?
Blue hair and
No, like at someone's home, like that you're in someone's family gathering, and you know, this is, you know, people hanging out who care about each other.
Yeah.
it's also it's like perfect. He's got the blue
Do-rag. Do-rag.
rag and the blue dreads and the blue sky. So it's all like almost like the perfect scenario.
Yeah. Awesome. And then like, can we talk about this third photo? Like, what do you, not so much what you feel, but like the action, like what action is happening in this photo for you?
Joy, like they're both smiling, but he's embracing her and she's just full of joy.
Yeah, it's like
And
that embrace from the back,
yeah.
right? So if any, sorry?
Ava says release between people who trust each other.
Yes. Oh, yes, exactly. That is so beautiful. A release between people who trust each other. Yeah. Yes. And yeah, it's just that like hug from behind. So I don't know if any of you would be like posing people together, but that's like something that I think of if I'm posing a couple together, or if I'm just posing two people who are acting like a couple or whatever. Is like, what are things that we naturally do that can look real and authentic, and then we can make it into like a cool pose. So you might go up to your friend and hug them from behind. That is a pose in itself. You might be laying on your significant other's lap. Like that's the first photo. But then we kind of elevate that. We make that into like something that's a little bit more interesting. And then the middle one is just like two people, their heads are just close by. That was my best way of portraying two things together. So I was very specific when I composed these because I wanted it to feel a very specific way, and everything that you guys shared is accurate to that. On the next slide, it's the same the same series, just a little bit more intimacy in these ones, and I made sure that I was like the one changing the perspective of the photo. All right, we can move to the next slide. So in these ones, perfect. Okay, this is like, I really wish we were all in person. I'll just say that. All right, so this slide, which of these photos would you select?
I was like the one in the middle because of the lighting.
Yeah, perfect, yes. So I selected these three photos to share because the second photo is the one that I chose for a reason. These reasons are that, you know, in the first photo, like there is movement and like the light is cool. It's not as bright as I would like it to be, but I think someone mentioned the idea of like exaggerating, of like actually being in the pose that you're doing. So this motion like works, but like what if we like take it up? What if we like actually give it that energy? And so that's what these hands are doing. In the third photo, like the light's not that perfect, but you also feel like it's kind of limp. Like the limp is like there, and then also the angle, like as the photographer, as the person who's capturing, it is always your job to try to find a different angle that works just a little bit better. It's never going to be perfect, but just trying to continuously like try new things, move around, and find that perfect angle for yourself in the photo that you're trying to get. It's like a blooming flower. It is like a blooming flower. This pose was very difficult to get, just so you all know. we were all like, oh, how do we, is it like this? Like it was a long situation. Do you have any questions?
It's like, but you also don't want to overextend the fingers and make them look too, like, not even athletic, but chunky.
Right, exactly. And then picking the right models for things. Like I had to pick hand models who I was like, oh, they have like pretty nice hands. Who said not mine? Mine are good in person, but I don't trust them in photos at all. You don't have bad hands. They're cute. All right, let's move to the next slide. All right, so we have an activity. I had 2 different ways of doing this. I'm nervous because there is not great reception, but I kind of want to try this. I have my friend here who I want to be the model. I also wanted you guys to model, and I was going to screenshot you, but I can't really do that because of all of this, so I'm sorry. I really wanted to take pictures of you maybe one day in person. But what I wanted us to do is you will be doing poses for the model based on the object or the piece that she will be wearing. Does that make sense? Or have? So I would like you all to participate, but if you don't want to, I guess it's fine. Can we get like a count of who wants to maybe say something in the chat? I want at least 4 people. Gio, I knew you were gonna say yes.
Ava, can I nominate you?
Yay! Just so you know, I will take photos with my camera of the pose you tell her to go into. Her name is Brianna. Do you want to come say hi, Brianna?
Hi, friends.
All right, I'm going to move over to the lighter area.
Where are in?
This is the studio I'm in, so bear with me as I make my way over. Right. Okay, Brianna, you are more than welcome to come along. Okay. Oh, wow, you're amazing. You're amazing. How's this? Okay, so in this first one, let's start. Yes, we'll start with this one. Who wants to go first?
Rashida, can you bring the phone a little closer to you guys?
Yep.
Up close and personal.
Ooh, all up in there. You know what? This is what I'll do. I'll turn it. Does this work?
Yeah.
Oops. Can you see her?
Yes.
All right. Perfect. So who wants to pose a Brianna with this? What is this called?
This is like a pumpkin?
A pumpkin gourd?
Eva's gonna pose Brianna.
Okay. So this is, oh, dang it. I feel like an old lady with the phone. All right. So Naomi, I think you were doing a pose. I kind of like that.
Oh wait, Eva volunteered.
Oh, Eva? Okay.
Well, I'm sorry.
You can have multiple volunteers.
I'm sorry if this is too drastic, but I immediately thought like if she put it between her legs and kind of like
Ooh.
kind of.
Yeah, I can try it. Wait, let me flip the camera now.
Like my foot up or down?
Foot up or down?
It's both of your knees up and that in the middle.
Both. Should we have you sit in this chair? Yeah, go sit in this chair. See, trial and error. We're changing the scene.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ready? You said both feet up. What did you say?
Both feet up.
Yeah, both knees up.
Okay.
Yes.
Rashida, can you go
Maybe
closer?
like legs, maybe feet lower.
Closer. All right. This was all right.
Maybe like feet closer to the ground and like leaning forward a bit, just like looking like super confident.
Said feet closer to the ground.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you still want my feet up or just like slightly down?
I guess slightly down.
Like that.
Like one up, one down.
No, parallel.
Like this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. Let's. Ooh.
Rashida,
All right,
I'm gonna see the bottom of the frame.
You can't see the bottom of the frame.
Right.
Put it, where can we?
You know what I'm gonna do? So you guys are gonna pose it. I'm gonna take the photo, and then we'll have a second where I'm gonna upload the photos and show you
I
all.
want to do it over here. Just leave it over here. It's a little lower. It might not be a little lower.
Oh my. Sorry, y'all. This is a whole mission.
There. Y'all get a different angle.
You get a different angle.
Should I put my hands side?
The way it is good, like kind of how you got like an insolent look in your eye, kind of like just like keep your hands casual. Yeah.
Said she liked the innocent look.
No, insolent.
Intimate.
Insolent.
Insolent.
Yeah.
Kind of like bratty. Yeah?
Sort of like
Yeah.
doesn't give a fuck, kind of would mix with bratty. Yeah.
Awesome. Ratty.
Yeah, like that with the hands is nice.
I love it. Okay. All right. Scene 1. Done. Let's go to scene 2. What do we have?
Are we keeping?
We're not keeping I keep wanting to call it a melon. It's not a melon.
Word.
Scene 2 is I have this lovely hat. Can we try and put it on your head? Let's see.
It might not work on. I tried earlier.
Okay.
Unless it's just, unless I like.
Well, maybe we
Well,
have
ask
them.
What do you want to do?
Yeah.
With it?
What do you want to do with this hat? Can we maybe have Naomi?
This is what it looks like on. Should I hold it?
I can't hear you if you're talking.
Yeah, I didn't unmute. Technologies. I want it to get it like somehow so it's either like balancing on a knee, maybe.
Oh. Ooh, I have an idea.
There and like I don't know if if the flexibility allows, but get like the one foot up on like the armrest almost.
Okay. I see what she's saying.
Yeah.
She's directing me.
Oh, okay. Wow. Look at you guys.
So she said one foot on the arm post almost like this. Is this what you meant?
Yeah, I don't like it.
No, we
Yeah, and,
So we
and I
have-
want
Mm-hmm.
I can also
and the
put
hat, I
shoes
want it to be tilted forward a little bit because it's reading very flat, and maybe you see more shadow, or you might be a little different.
Let me show you this. So we have some backlight right here. All right. I'm going to give you backlight. We also have this little stool here. There's also a tub.
Oh, yeah. I don't see the hat in the tub, but I see going over to the window. And like me, I don't know, I like the leg up, but like one leg up, hand out at thing.
one leg up, Am I wearing it? Am I wearing it? Sorry.
Well, if it's a thing for a photo shoot and it's like the hat is the product, I'd want it to be like this. But with the backlit, I want to see what kind of shadows and then
Yeah.
the eyeline.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's some good direction. All right. So she wants to see the shadows and the eyeline, and I'm also going to take that direction as the photographer from you.
Mm-hmm.
So quick note, if you guys ever are assisting on shoots, I think it's really important to let the person you're helping know if you have a vision. All right? Like if you're working with someone and they don't want to listen to you, I don't like that. Like it should be a very communicative effort. You ready? Wow. All right, so we're gonna try to showcase the hat with some backlight. Yeah.
Would you like me to wear it or would you like me to hold it?
Hold it. Let me see. Yeah, I like that. I like that. And then, no, I liked it on you when you're back there, or like having it. I like the shape there with your hair.
That's
Yeah.
my favorite.
Mm-hmm. It's just the shape that's really nice. And then I don't know what angle exactly Rashida is shooting from, but like thinking about that big pole, like the big column of the window and where she is in relation to that.
Wow, you're impressing me. Move to your left, just so that you're like in the mirror, in the frame of the window. What do you call them? The window
The panel, yeah, the panes, the window panes.
Right.
Oh yeah, and I like the shapes in between your fingers when your fingers are a little bit open. Yeah, tilt it, yeah.
Yeah. Let's suggest lift the hat for me, as if you're putting it on. So if I were to shoot this hat, I would say like certain motion. Oh, how do you put on a hat? Like, can you put on the hat for me? I want to see like that. I want to see that motion, that action.
Mm-hmm.
Put on the hat for me, like take it off and put it back on. All right, can you take it off, put it back on? All right, just hold it right before, yeah. So like right there, you've got space. There we go. A little bit higher. All right. And then can you tilt the hat back so that we see the flat?
Yeah.
Up. Higher. Mm-hmm.
What would it look like if you were gonna take the hat and you were hot, you're taking it off just to the side, like you just went for the hike or whatever. How would you take it off and put it on like more casually? Maybe with one hand.
Yeah. So maybe we can do that one time. Just let it fall. Ready? Let that.
And even let your arm extend all the way out straight so that it kind of let it fall down. Yeah, let your arm go down.
Mm-hmm. So do that again. I think what you're saying is let it kind of like drop, right? Right.
Yeah, it's like I'm so wow. I just see the pretty thing and my hat is off my hand.
All right, so right now, my perspective is I'm seeing the hat directly in front of her face. So it kind of like frames her. Yeah. I think,
and then the light bounces from behind.
Yeah.
And
Perfect.
Rashida, as a note, we are about 10 minutes.
Yes.
So
and one more piece and then we're done. If anyone else wants to do, they're in Cali. Yes, we are in Cali. How is the light? Okay. If you want to just put it over.
Oh, this one goes all the way up.
Yeah. All right. We have 10 minutes. Can you say that for me? All right.
Button all the way up. Or is that, who's directing?
Who's giving direction now?
Also, please note, the skirt will not be in the shot.
I can direct this one if you like.
All the way
So
up.
yeah, I will maybe let's try one like if you close all the buttons. Maybe yeah, just close the jacket. And then I noticed that you had like a white curtain with a really cool pattern, like by the next to where you were sitting. Can we use that? Can we use that as the backdrop?
Oh my gosh, I am so happy. I was like, I want them to do it, and this is making me so happy.
And also the lighting, the way the lighting is coming in. I had a question because I noticed that you were shooting.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, I noticed the way the light is coming in, but before you were shooting with the light in the background. Is that how you do it, or you want the lighting reflecting on your face?
Now I would say for this, I would have the light reflect on her face. So right, what you're seeing is back. Luckily, you can see her with the phone, but in the camera, it kind of makes her a shadow or a silhouette, and then the light. So where would you like the back? Do you want me to bring?
So the pattern curtain should be behind you.
Okay.
And
Would you like me to sit?
No, I would like you to stand.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So timelines on here. You guys.
So now I think you can, since it's almost like a fashion shoot, right? Because you look amazing, you have this amazing pattern behind you, so you can just like have fun and.
And what do we feel about the height, her height in comparison to the backdrop?
I wish if she could bend a little bit so we can frame.
Okay. We have a short, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put her on a stool.
Sure.
To make up for that.
Yeah. Perfect.
And since, all right. So just another thing that I noticed is fitting. She looked kind of cool doing that. I don't know if anyone thought that, but like I'm a fan of that, so I would ask her something like that. All right, keep directing.
So I think definitely that pose, like leaning forward a little bit and just like some attitude and like fashion, like just the jacket is making you feel like amazing and.
Getting in here, I'm getting some detail on the jacket, right? Because whatever you're shooting.
Yeah, maybe looking to the side almost as well, like like that. Perfect. Yes, very cool.
I'm also gonna try this.
Also not a model, so there.
Yes, you are. You are a model.
Let's try this. So right now we're shooting through. Let me turn. I know we're almost done, but I'm shooting through this right here. There's some people, so I'm capturing her through the peoples, and I'm just gonna have her look up to me. Perfect. Right.
Perfect. You could even open the jacket as well. It seemed like she was put. I think we got the shot. Yeah.
I think we got the shot.
Yeah. Cool.
She was supposed to be topless in this, but you know, time. All right, so I think we can, I'm gonna sit back down somewhere. All right, that was the last scene. Do we have any questions, any comments, any concerns, anything? I'm here for you.
One thing I learned is I love how like the freedom of movement that as a photographer that you have, like you aren't afraid to like go to the back of the curtain. And I think that sometimes, I guess as a novice photographer, you tend to be very like, I can't really like a little rigid, but yeah, you're very fluid and you're bending down. So that was super cool. Experimenting. Thank you.
You guys gave really great direction, first of all. I don't know if I said that already, but your direction was really good. And I really personally enjoyed this entire thing. Like all of your insights were spot on. I want to know what each and every one of you like do. I know I learned from some people, but yeah. Anyway, next, if anyone else has anything to say.
I have a question. When you're directing people, are you, and I'm sure it varies based on the shoot and whatever, but are you trying to move people quickly? Are you trying to kind of get them to do this? Or are you trying to do it a little slower and let them come to it?
Slow is always better. You don't want to rush somebody in their process. If I'm working with a model, they know what to do, so I don't necessarily have to give them direction, but I work with a lot of people who aren't comfortable in front of the camera. So in order to get them comfortable in front of the camera, I will literally just be like, okay, just sit here, let me snap some photos. And I admire and pay attention to the little things they might do or what makes them uncomfortable. Like, how close can I get until they're like, so yeah, I mean, definitely slow and steady wins the race. If anyone is ever trying to book you for a shoot and they say they can do it in 30 minutes, it's not, unless they're a pro. So yeah, I would just say move slowly, give them time, ask questions. I don't know if I said this earlier, but putting yourself in the position of your subject and whatever you want them to do is like, it will always make any shoot work. Because if you try and put yourself in the position, if you're trying to tell someone like, put your leg up, and you can't even do it, chances are you shouldn't expect the person to do it. If they're willing to try, please like tell them to try. But if you can't do it, chances are they probably can't. So move yourself in a different position. Something that I did with the protected piece with the blue, I would like go into the position with the guy or the girl to show them how I wanted it to look, versus just being like, hey, can you just get close and like hug? Because then they like, and it doesn't really work. So always move slow. Don't be afraid to get into the same position that you're requesting, and just try things out. Ask questions. Have conversations with your subjects. Always.
Ava asks, any further tips for warming up subjects who are more camera shy?
Again, ask questions. Sometimes when you ask questions to them, like personal questions, nothing too crazy, but like if you get them to open up and talk to you, you'll kind of see the shyness shedding away. Complimenting people, I hate it, because people always tell me like, you're just saying this because you're a photographer, and it's like, not really. Like, you have to mean the compliment that you're giving. You have to like actually be there. Like, I can't take a good photo of someone if I'm not actually seeing how beautiful or handsome or like how interesting their shoulder moves when they do said thing, or like how their arm flows when they do this, or maybe I saw them dancing once and it's like, oh, like they're actually a good dancer. Can you move? Can you do some like dance movements, motions, whatever? Yeah, so I think that would be my tip for warming up subjects. Just talk to them, show them photos, show them the photos of themselves, just so they see what you're seeing, but don't show them bad photos because then they'll be like, no, I look awful. Don't do that. Yeah. Anything else? Anyone else?
Do you ever shoot like pets or children who maybe might not take direction as well? Like, how do you navigate that?
Kids are actually, for me, I think kids are probably the easiest to shoot because they're very carefree. I also just like, I love kids and I know how to interact with them and just like smiling. Also like having your shutter speed on to take multiple photos. Like that helps, especially with pets or animals. If they're moving around, you kind of have to capture the photos quickly. With kids, it's just engaging. The same with kids, adults, whoever. You just have to figure out, you have to know what subject you're working with so that you can accurately engage them with yourself. Like, you engage a pet in a specific way, so use that when you're taking photos of an animal. You engage way like they might laugh, something crazy or whatever. And then capturing the moments of the kids if they're with their family or like at a playground. I think that's my favorite way of capturing kids or babies, is because just capture them in their element. It doesn't really make sense to try to pose them if they can't pose. So yeah, that's my tip on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, can't hear you. Almost there.
When you're doing the photography and you're like on a shoot, I noticed that the ones for Allison's work were very frontal and very, level.
Mm-hmm.
In general, are you looking, is like that a shot that you like, or are you going up and down? Like, do you ever work on ladders or shoot from the floor up?
Yes, I'm everywhere, like all over. Allison, I think, can attest to that. All the angles. Obviously, if you're working with a client that just wants that like front view, that's all you're going to work with. But even if I'm working for clients, like, I'm going to take the photos that I want to take just so I can have them at the end of the day. So yeah, it depends on what the goal is for you, but always change your angles, change your perspective, because something might look better from above down than it does look from right here or like right here. This is different than this. Like, this small movement is like huge. And again, if you're working with people who aren't comfortable in front of the camera, having them hold a pose and you do the motion to move around to get those different perspectives, to see like, oh, their face, their jawbone looks a little bit more defined from down here to up here, or from this way down. So is this me? Was I going into the pose for the person?
Rashida posing, putting herself in the position. I can't really understand what's happening with my screen, so apologies. But this is Rashida putting, here we go, on the ground. This is Rashida just like very much getting up all over everybody. Yes. And telling people exactly how she wants them to be posing and then letting them do their thing. Yes, Rashida. Okay. I think I'm done.
I love it. Yeah, so it's a very intimate thing. I usually tell my clients, I'm like, are you okay with me touching you? Like, it's kind of different in this new world because now I have to use more words, and not that it's harder, but it's a lot easier doing this to someone's chin than like telling, okay, just a little bit higher, just a little bit higher. Like that's just annoying. I'd rather go in and do it. So that's also something that is changing now with the pandemic and the coronavirus. But hopefully it changes. If you're wearing a glove, it doesn't hurt to, or adjust the shoulders a little bit or whatever.
Rashida, I think what you said earlier about like bringing your full self into any shoot that you're on, and like really like you're having to be and like actually being comfortable in your skin first when you enter the space is a thing that like immediately gets people like at ease or like helps them get onto like your level.
Yes. I like to think of it as any relationship that you're having or trying to build with someone. You just have to show up. If you show up for people, it shows them that they can be comfortable in that space with you. And so like that's with anything that you're doing. I think that's my biggest takeaway with like posing and composition and just shooting and whatever you're doing. Know that if you show up, they will show up with you, and if they don't, that's okay. But just completely just knowing who you are or trying to know who you are is really, really important to have a good outcome for anything. Oh, I can't hear you.
Sorry. I think we're pretty much out of time. If anybody has any like quick last questions, if you want to drop them in the chat box, I will email those to Rashida and she will email y'all back. So you got like 60 seconds now to like get your questions in there. Thank you all so much.
I will send the photos. I'll send the photos that I took to the group, to everyone. Great. So you guys can say you directed.
Can have a byline.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for being here. Thanks, Alba. And thank you for bearing with us with all of like this like whole tech thing was quite a lot. We had 2 other camera angles planned and like a full screen slide presentation thing, which like did not go obviously according to plan. So thank you for sticking with us with this like weird hack situation. Rashida, where can people keep up with you? What's the best way to communicate, etc.?
Yeah. You can email me. You can check my Instagram. I'm typing it in the chat. Luckily, it's just my full name. So yeah, if like follow me on Instagram, I'll probably DM me so that I can follow you back. And please, like if you guys ever have questions, message me. Like I love talking to people and trying to answer questions as best as possible. I'm no pro yet. I'm trying.
I think you're pretty pro. Thank you so much, everybody. And I see no more questions, so we're gonna go ahead and off for the night.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rashida.
Thank you. I hope to see you guys in the world.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye.